What would it take to colonize Mars? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Facts, Fiction, and Stories, where we explore the possibilities and challenges of living beyond Earth. Today, we are going to Mars, the fourth planet from the Sun, and our next destination in the solar system. Mars is often called the Red Planet because of its rusty color and rocky terrain. But Mars is also a potential home for humanity, with many similarities and advantages over other planets. How can we colonize Mars? What are the benefits and risks of doing so? And what would life be like there? Let's find out. Why colonize Mars? Before we get into the how, let's talk about the why. Why would we want to colonize Mars in the first place? There are several reasons that make Mars an attractive target for space colonization. One reason is scientific curiosity. Mars is a fascinating planet that can teach us a lot about the origin and evolution of our own planet and life. By studying Mars, we can learn how it lost its atmosphere and water, what factors influence climate change, and whether life ever existed or could exist there. Another reason is technological innovation. Colonizing Mars would require developing new technologies and solutions that could benefit humanity in many ways. For example, we could learn how to create habitats that can withstand harsh conditions, how to generate energy from solar or nuclear sources, and how to recycle resources efficiently. A third reason is cultural diversity. Colonizing Mars would expand our horizons and perspectives as a species. It would create new opportunities for exploration, discovery, and creativity. It would also challenge us to adapt to a new environment and culture, and to cooperate with other colonists from different backgrounds and interests. A fourth reason is survival and expansion. Colonizing Mars would help us become a multiplanetary species, which could increase our chances of surviving a global catastrophe or an existential threat. It would also allow us to grow our population and resources without overexploiting our home planet. How to colonize Mars? Now that we have some reasons to colonize Mars, let's see how we could do it. There are two main phases that have been proposed: exploration and settlement. Exploration is the first phase, where we send robotic missions and human crews to scout and study the planet. Exploration missions would involve landing on different sites, collecting samples, conducting experiments, testing technologies, and establishing communication and navigation systems. Exploration missions would also help us identify the best locations for future settlements based on factors such as access to water, minerals, sunlight, protection from radiation, and scientific interest. Exploration missions have already begun, with several robotic probes orbiting and roving on Mars since the 1960s. The most recent ones include NASA's Perseverance rover and Ingenuity helicopter, which landed in February 2021, and China's Tianwen-1 orbiter and Zhurong rover, which arrived in May 2021. The next step is to send human crews to Mars, which could happen as soon as the 2030s or 2040s. Several organizations have proposed plans for human missions to Mars, such as NASA's Artemis program, SpaceX's Starship project, ESA's Aurora program, Roscosmos Energia project, ISRO's Mangalyaan 2 mission, among others. Human missions to Mars would be very challenging and expensive, as they would require launching heavy payloads into orbit, transferring them to interplanetary trajectories, landing them safely on the surface, supporting them with life support systems, and returning them back to Earth. Human missions to Mars would also be very risky and dangerous, as they would expose the crew to high levels of radiation during the trip and on the surface, potential health problems due to microgravity and isolation, possible technical failures or accidents, and psychological stress and conflicts. Human missions to Mars would be one-way or round-trip depending on the mission design. One-way missions would involve sending volunteers who are willing to stay on Mars permanently or until a return option becomes available. Round-trip missions would involve sending crews who are expected to come back after a certain period of time. Settlement is the second phase, where we establish permanent or long-term habitats on Mars that can support human life and activities. Settlements would involve building structures that can provide shelter, power, and store food materials. The settlements would also have farms where genetically modified foods would grow for the people living in Mars to eat, industries to make spaceships and other machines for mining, building more structures, etc.